Welcome to this episode of virtual Shabbat with a Schmear. We're here on the Upper West Side, though unfortunately not at Barney Greengrass, which is not open for seating right now. But we are here to discuss the weekly portion of Bamidbar. Hi, Shabbat Mom, Meredith Berkman, who is not together with me, but just up the road here, here in Manhattan. And it's a treat always to be able to discuss the parsha with you.
It's an honor for me, actually, Rabbi Mintz. Thank you. But I wish I called it a bagel. A Barney Greengrass bagel.
That's for sure. This week we begin the fourth book of the Torah, the book of Bamidbar. And it discusses the census. And even during this COVID period, we still seem to be getting, letters and postcards and things reminding us to fill out our census forms. This is the moment of the census. And we understand that the census is important for a lot of reasons in the United States, for political reasons, for social reasons. What do you make of reading about the census in the Torah this week?
Well, first of all, I don't know if you've seen in New York, there's Cardi B, who's a big funky pop rap star with very long nails and a great attitude, cheeky attitude. She actually does a PSA for the census, which I really admire and I think is great. I'd like to think I'm the Shabbat mom version of Cardi B, but my kids will knock me down on that one. But I actually have some guilt this week in reading Bamidbar. The fact that, numbers matter, and numbers matter so much that there's an entire book devoted to numbers, to counting. I mean, the fact that we can see how many people, how many families and where they stood and all of that, that's why we have the census today. And of course, I must admit, as a New Yorker who's been sheltering in place and has been affected by this pandemic, I feel a lot of Jewish guilt because I have not yet sent back my census card. It's on my very long to-do list. And frankly, looking at Bamidbar this week and how important it was to our people to be counted. Of course, the census in the Torah does not count women or children, right? It's only men who are of military age, so it's a different time. But that makes it even more important for me to fill out the census. I also noticed that there was some literature that said if you don't fill out your census information in time, they will send a census counter directly to your home. Now, I'm not going to test that out because, again, we're here in the heart of New York City, and I don't think anyone wants to let someone that they don't know into their home. But I am inspired to fill out the census because it matters to be counted, and that's really what we hear. When I've talked to my children as they were growing up about the weekly parsha, I always said, the Torah is a spiritual book, but it's also the history book of our people. And how do you know? How do you know these things happen? And I say, well, let's look at let's go to the tape. There are the numbers. We know how many Israelite men there were of a certain age wandering together in the desert. Just read Bamidbar. Never been more relevant than it is today.
It sure is. And Rashi comments about the census. He said, why did God need to take a census? God knows everything. He wants to know how many people there are. He just knows how many people there are. And of course, the answer, Rashi says, is because by counting everybody, you show how much you love and appreciate each individual person for who they are. And I think that's also a very important lesson for us during this COVID period. And that is the importance of every individual. We at 7 o'clock, we give a tremendous shout out to the people on the front line. And we appreciate people who are on the front line. But actually, I think we also have come to understand that everybody's on their own front line. Everybody has their own challenges, and everybody is rising to those challenges. So tonight, when we cheer at 7 o'clock in honor of the census, we should think of each and every individual.
Amen. Very well said. Thank you. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.